Hey kids, Brian Trauman here, Pez Through the Ages. We got a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, and some extremely rare Pez dispensers. How many? I don't really know, but let's see if we can figure it out with this video. Heretofore, these dispensers have really not been shared publicly. And the reason for that is because when they were shared publicly, there was a great furor. That's right, look it up. An event with fury. Now, what you've got is a sample. It says right here, sample only, written by somebody at Pez. This one came directly from Pez USA. This other one came through a more circuitous route, but eventually you get back to Pez USA. Now, back in 2006, there were two stories circulating about this guy. Not this one in particular. Well, maybe. But three of them came out of the factory and found their way into the hands of a few collectors. I'll leave out those names. Who knows? The story may develop in the Pez Through the Ages Facebook group if you'd like to follow along. But one of those individuals did some favors for Pez, was awarded this. Somebody else did a favor, and that first person was able to talk Pez into giving a second one to them. And similarly for the third person. They were all told to not sell those, to keep them in their collections. Once all three, and there were only three, were out, then they were permitted to show them to other collectors, but that's all. The story that came with it was that these were commissioned by Procter & Gamble for some of the, I don't know, executives or others on the Prilosec team, and that fewer than 1,000 were made. And there was no real good idea of how many. Fewer than 100? Who knows? But the team, relatively small. And the word on the street was that the P&G people, Procter & Gamble, didn't want a full run of however many came with this. They just wanted a limited number. Well, unfortunately, in 2006, one of them, or one of another group, showed up on eBay, and Pez and Procter & Gamble got pretty upset. Threatened to sue the individual. Procter & Gamble threatened to sue Pez. The reason, as it comes out, is perhaps the real story, is that these were not made for Procter & Gamble. They were not commissioned by Procter & Gamble. Instead, Pez made them as a salesman sample so that they could go to Procter & Gamble and say, hey, look at what we could do for you. Can we? Should we? Will you pay us to do it? That never happened. And so we don't know exactly how many of these were made. There's at least two here. We know there were at least three that got into the hands of those early collectors. One of the numbers thrown around by one of our more famous dealers here in this group is 6, which would be crazy because I've got 2 of them. That second story of being not commissioned by Procter & Gamble turns out to be true, as far as we know. How many were made, we don't know. Why is it a purple football? Back in 2006, Procter & Gamble was running an advertising campaign during football season that involved a purple football for Prilosec, which I think was the purple pill. Anyhow, these guys are extremely rare. We don't know how many there are. I'd love to know in the comments how many you have. Maybe we can develop some sort of category or some sort of listing of how many might be out there. I'm guessing it's not more than a dozen or so, but let's all talk about it. Why don't we? These things go for in excess of $1,000. I think the last one I saw sold was $1,500 pretty recently. Take care, folks.